learning for professional growth and the key strategies for success. I'm pleased to say the initial webinar that we delivered 2 weeks ago was a huge success. So this is going to be a continued webinar series throughout 2025. And essentially the premise of these author webinar series is just to bring you closer to what's widely regarded as more than subject matter experts, because these individuals are able to write and deliver competently to an extremely high level to help deliver you the content that you're looking for in their fields, going beyond an expert level. I'm joined today by Steve Lawless and Andrew Lowe. With Andrew Lowe is a director at IA42 Limited, and Steve Lawless is the CEO of Purple Griffin, a training company in IT service management and consultancy. Together, Andrew Lowe and Steve Lawless developed the BCS AI Foundations and AI Essentials certificates as well. So if you're interested in developing and continuing to developing your learning with certification, that is available at BCS. But most notably, they are both the co-authors of the AI and machine learning book that was released late last year. With that being said, they've got a combined experience of over 85 years in tech and IT, with a considerable proportion of that covering the early adoption of AI all the way through to what we know and don't know about it today. So without further ado, I'll pass over to Steve to talk probably a little bit about the book and about what's coming up in the webinar today.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Myself and Andrew. So what we're looking to try and do today, or cover today, we've got some feedback, Andy. We may know a lot about AI, but technology sometimes beats us. What we're looking to cover today is to give everyone an introduction to AI, because there's lots of misunderstanding what AI is, what machine learning is. So we just want to nail what AI is first of all. We also then want to look at where you are, where your organizations are in terms of adoption of AI. And also bring everyone up to date in terms of the current state of ethics, governance, risk management, legislation around AI. Then look at how you can get started. Probably for most of you, it's probably generative AI, ChatGPT, Copilot, things like that. But some of you may have PhDs in AI, as far as I know, and be experts in the subject. In which case, hope you do pick something up today. Hope you learn something from it. So it's about getting started personally, but also professionally within your organization. They're looking for opportunities. So what opportunities are there to implement AI within your organization? And then we'll round off with looking at what the opportunities are for you to progress your career, either in AI or in another subject area like service management, project management, test management, but with a good understanding of AI and how AI can enhance those specific roles. So let's just skip back over that one again. So one of the objectives I should have mentioned is to get people to buy the book. So I hope everybody will rush out there and get the second edition of the book. The original book, Andy and myself wrote about 5 years ago. A lot of the things which have happened over the last 5 years, Andy and myself sort of predicted, although obviously we didn't do it. But you could see these things coming down the road. So it was about flagging up. So 5 years ago, the early days of generative AI, but we could see where it was going. So in the second edition, we're building on those areas. And also the book, the second edition, is aligned with the training course. So the AI Foundation course, BCS's AI Foundation course, which is the 3-day course, but also covers the, to a great extent, the 1-day essentials course, and also the, I think there's 12 diploma courses. So it also feeds into those courses as well. So worthwhile read. It's not a huge volume. And once you've read it, pass it on or sell it on eBay. Although BCS probably won't thank me for that. But pass it on to your colleagues, or encourage your colleagues to go out and buy their own copy. Right, okay. So hopefully we'll be back again in another 5 years and give you an update into the current state of AI and machine learning. Right, so what is AI? Is this the point where I drag Andy in to the conversation? Otherwise, I'm a trainer, so I'll talk all day. Hence, you can tell by the croaky voice at the moment. So yeah. I'll pass you on to Andy for this bit.
Yeah, what is artificial intelligence, machine learning? So it's quite important to get a good, clear picture in your mind what artificial intelligence is, and then how machine learning fits into that. So artificial intelligence, I used to like the idea that it's about creating intelligent entities, but a more succinct way of saying that is simulation of human intelligence in machines. So what we're doing is we're doing an abstraction of what human intelligence is, and then hopefully that abstraction, usually in digital computers, we can put that into machines and we can take advantage of it. What's machine learning in that sense? Well, machine learning is algorithms that allow computers to learn and improve from data without explicit programming, i.e. we're learning from data. So this is classic digital computing type analysis, and why we often see artificial intelligence described in terms of IT or in terms of computers and digital, because this is a big growth area. And that's where we typically see all the advances in artificial intelligence. Examples that we see of artificial intelligence machine learning: virtual assistants, recommendation systems, if you've got Netflix and things like that, predictive analytics, if you do business modeling, or if you do models of, say, how the traffic moves through a city. That would be traditionally associated with a simulation, and then we simulate the movement of those vehicles, and then we try and learn from it. So learning from experience is the key thing that groups all of this together. We nearly changed the name of the book from Learning from Experience and Learning from Data to try and capture the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning. Back to you, Steve.
Right, cheers. And it's gone to sleep on me. Right, okay. Next slide. Hey, yeah, technology. Right, okay. So, yeah, AI has been around since the 1950s. There's a little section in the book about the history of AI, and it goes right back to the Dartmouth Conference in 1956. So people have been talking about AI for years and years. And it's only really recently that we've had an exponential growth in, data and computational power. So, 30 years ago, I was trying to write a smart system for a problem management function within an IT service management tool. I didn't have the computation power, and also I had biased data, because what ended up happening through reinforcement was the recommendations always defaulted eventually to switch it off, switch it back on again, which then reinforced the next time someone did a search. So yeah, we've had this exponential growth in data, computational power, and the take up of AI. So yeah, we saw AI in the automotive industry, self-drive vehicles. Yeah, we've been talking about those for 20 years plus, but we're still waiting to get them. Years ago we were talking about flying cars. Just about seeing those now. So technology is finally catching up with our aspirations. So it's important today. If you listen to Donald Trump, listen to Keir Starmer, listen to any of the world leaders, they're all talking about improving productivity. And the only way we're going to do that is through automation. Well, whether you believe we should be driving productivity as a key goal, but the way to get there is through automation and knowledge-based automation as well, intelligent automation, which means that we need AI. Okay, so that's, I'm scared to press the button now, see how many slides that leap forward. Let's see. Well, right, move to the right one. Okay, so 5 years ago, PricewaterhouseCoopers came out with a report saying that within, I think by 2030, they said that 70% of existing manufacturing jobs will be replaced by AI. And we are on that path. But what they also said was those jobs would be replaced by new jobs, new careers, which we're also seeing. And we'll talk about that towards the end of the webinar, about these new roles that we're seeing. And some of them are evolving. There's some roles which we don't know about yet because they've not been required. So AI is going to have an impact on all of our roles and our careers. So the job we have now probably isn't the job we're going to have in 5 or 10 years' time. So there will be new roles, there will be new careers. Our children will be doing jobs which don't currently exist. But if we can prepare for those emerging careers by reading the BCS book and other things, we'll talk about other aspects as well, where we can prepare ourselves and our children can prepare themselves for an evolving future. Okay, so that's our sort of personal impacts. The impact on organisations, this has been going on a number of years now. So in the book, we cover things like the various industries, so automotive, retail, healthcare, and we see AI in all of these areas. And as I said, it's all about improving efficiency, productivity in those areas. So being able to do more for less. So even when we weren't talking about AI, people were talking about doing more for less or doing things smarter, quicker, cheaper. So as well as the impact on organisational productivity, if we can supply accurate data, good data visualization, if we can provide up-to-date, real-time data through the use of AI, then that's going to give management better decision-making capability. And also that will then give our organisations a competitive advantage in the market. And personally, it will give us personal advantages in the careers market. Okay, so AI is going to change everything we do, every aspect of our lives. Okay, and where we see that through big data, the Internet of Things. Over the last 5 years, I've seen everything prefixed by the letters AI. So it's AI tools, AI service management tools, AI project management tools. I think it was about 5 years ago as I saw an AI-enabled toothbrush, which was retailing for about $250 US. I declined the offer because I was wondering how much can a toothbrush learn about my teeth. So, but there probably is something there. It probably was learning from experience. Yeah, you've missed a bit there, Steve. Whether it would talk to me or whether it would engage with a personal assistant, and Siri could pull, one of the other tools could pull me up on my dental hygiene. I don't know.
Alexa.
Yeah, Alexa. Steve, you need to brush your teeth more frequently. Right. Okay. So, yeah, there's impact on people, impact on organizations. And what we're seeing is industry specific areas. These are just a couple of examples. In terms of healthcare, retail, finance sectors. So providing personalized shopping experience. So recommendations. We see that on the entertainment industry, Netflix. People who like this movie also like this other movie, which is great until I share Netflix with my wife, and she likes chick flicks and I like science fiction. But I've never seen a recommend a science fiction chick flick yet. So it recommends one or the other. If it could detect who'd actually was sat in front of the TV, maybe I'd say it was a little bit more intelligent. So it's really in these real world applications in specific industries where we're looking at better outcomes. So an example in the healthcare industry, in oncology. So oncologists, looking at slides, it would require 2 oncologists to assess each slide. Now we have AI to do an initial assessment, and then the oncologist will then do a check. So we can free up 50% of oncologists to do maybe the more important things, the things which can't be replaced by AI. So the human-centric elements of being an oncologist. Okay, so lots of examples there in terms of industry sectors. There's a whole chapter, I think, in the book about those. So have a look at your industry sector. Is your organization doing any of this? If not, why aren't they doing it? And is there an opportunity to do it? And the organizations that are early adopters will ensure success. But you need the right culture as well within these organizations. There has to be a cultural change in lots of these organizations in terms of financing, experimentation, the ability to fail fast, fix fast, learn fast, and a no blame culture. Okay, if your organization is operating on a 3 strikes and you're out basis, then probably the first thing that needs to change there is the culture. And cultural change isn't easy, but if we can at least change people's behaviors, attitude, we're on the way to changing their behaviors. Anything you want to chip in there, Andy, or are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that artificial intelligence and machine learning is an abstraction in a virtual world. And the hard bit often is to prove what you're doing in the real world. So we introduced the concept of the digital twin, which is a simulated, say, a warehouse or whatever, but you've got to make sure that whatever you simulate actually ties up in the real world. And when we're designing an AI product or a machine learning system and it's going to interact with humans, you've got to make sure that that human interaction doesn't cause generate the incorrect behavior. So it's not as simple as we think. A simulated abstraction that we have in AI and machine learning doesn't necessarily pan out in the real world. One good example of that is that the AI simulation is saying that people can get from A to B in an hour, but reality tells you that, we can't do it in that time because people are too tired or they don't have the reaction time to do it. So the real world application of AI and machine learning needs to be tempered with what we can do physically in the real world. You have to prove the work actually can be done in the times the AI or the machine learning is telling you it can be done.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks. Cheers, Andy. Okay. So there's industry specific sort of applications, and where unless we're developing our own bespoke AI system, our main interactions with AI will be through AI-enabled tools. And if you go to any the trade shows, so I was at the IT service management trade show last year. Every stand had prefixed everything with AI. As I said, some of them looks like they've just been recently applied. So these were tools which had been upgraded, still the same functionality, but they'd enabled some learning from experience or learning from data into those technologies. So in terms of general organizations, so if we're looking at back office work, HR, accounts, operational activities, then customer service management type roles. What we're looking there is our engagement with AI is really through use of the technologies others have developed. Whether that's Copilot, whether that's ChatGPT or one of the other 1,000 and odd generative AI systems out there. That's probably going to be the main place that we engage with AI. We can sales and marketing, from my perspective, are the two areas I've engaged with most from with our training company in terms of AI-enabled systems to forecast. Someone who bought this course is likely to buy this other course, some of which we could probably have guessed without the use of AI, but the AI reinforces who we should be marketing to and what we should be marketing to those people. So what we tend to see is things like better organizations in terms of being able to forecast demand, manage supply chains. In some organizations, things like improved inventory management, because if we have spare components sat on a shelf, they're not earning the organization any revenue. So just in time spares replenishment is something which manufacturing can use, retail use it, supermarkets, because they want to make sure they maximize shelf life for their products, which could deteriorate. Also things like employee productivity, making use of the intelligent chatbots. So if we record a meeting on Teams, let's generate a summary, let's generate the minutes of that meeting and any actions which have dropped out of that meeting. Okay, but when we start talking about these intelligent personal assistants and chatbots, we do have to caveat that with things like data privacy, information security concerns around who has access to the data, what that data is being used for. Is it legal? Is it ethical? So cybersecurity really has a fairly big say in how these tools are used. So we don't want to be bolting on security afterwards. So if we're designing how we're going to use an AI system, let's build in security from the outset. Okay, so that's where we could be. That's what's happening in the market. That's what AI can enable us to do. But let's have a look at where we are now. Okay, so look at things personally. And as a trainer, I would say this: you should assess your current skill set. So is your current skill set fit for purpose, fit for use? So a few years back, we started actually Agile, prefixing everything with Agile. because everything had to be agile. So agile project management, agile test management, agile service management. Okay, so we saw a big influx in terms of people looking for agile training. Now, really, the emphasis is more on AI. So there is, but it is a slow move. No, I'm not expecting 200 people to ring us up tomorrow to say, book me on the course. It'd be lovely if you did, but that isn't going to happen tomorrow. So personally, we should do a skills assessment, a competency assessment, whatever you want to call it. Where are we now? Okay, and also, what do we need in the future? So what are the opportunities in our role? What are the opportunities in our industry? How can we position ourselves to take advantage of that? Those opportunities which will come about in the next year or two. So what we should do is develop a learning development plan, individually, or for a team leader, manager, HR, learning and development professional. Then we should be looking at what skills our staff need in the future. And staff should have an interest in their careers in terms of where they want to get to. Okay, where they want to be in the next 12 months, 2 years, 5 years. Okay, planning beyond 5 years probably isn't that easy at the moment. Okay, so I don't want to give all the book away. But in terms of understanding the skills you require, there are some basic skill sets. So an understanding of AI, machine learning concepts. So what is supervised learning? What is semi-supervised learning? What is unsupervised learning? Okay, what's labeled data? What's unlabeled data? So we need to understand some basic AI and machine learning concepts, to go back to the book again, the book will certainly help you with that. A good understanding of data literacy, data visualization. And again, data is a huge area. We can start talking about data bias, the completeness of data, incompleteness of data, and the ability to be able to solve problems. You have to do critical thinking. And I run courses on root cause analysis. There are lots of other courses around there to help you think in a critical way, not just looking at it from a root cause perspective, but how do you break a problem down into smaller areas? So it's those sorts of skills. Anything to add to that, Andy? Other skills you would add?
How your technology is going to be used in the real world. So understanding people's interactions with your technology or your applications. And in terms of skills, your own development skills are quite important, because what AI and machine learning will do will unlock time for you personally. And one of the things you may realize when you're using AI and machine learning is, actually, there's no role for me now. So what's your future role going to be? And so you've got to move to something that enhances your value so you can get paid more. So the learning from experience really should be taking away the monotonous tasks away from you, so that you've got more time to develop your core value skills.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, I missed that.
It's okay.
Right. Okay. So So how do we develop those skills? Organizationally and personally. Obviously, there's the courses, and I would fully promote the BCS courses. 1 day, 3 day, there's 2 day and 3 day courses available to get you started, get you on that road to developing your skills and knowledge. The degree courses, if you want to spend 3-4 for 5 years of your life, doing a degree course in artificial intelligence. Yeah, they are there. Most universities run them. There are business schools where I see 25, what's 25 week, not 26 week courses. I'm not sure. Maybe they give you a week off for good behavior. So there are lots of courses out there. But obviously I promote the BCS one. There's blogs. So on the Purple Griffin website, we have a lot of blogs about AI, and lots of other topics as well. But we don't have a monopoly of that. There's lots of good information, but equally there's lots of misinformation out there as well. So be careful about what you read sometimes. And also sometimes these blogs are full of aspirations, written by futurologists. There's excellent webinars. BCS obviously heavily invested in growing their memberships capabilities. So lots of webinars. There's AI communities, and I must be in about at least 20 of them, judging by the number of emails I get on a weekly basis, which help me stay up to date with emergent technologies, that not just AI, but in other areas of interest like robotics and nanotechnology and genetic engineering. And obviously there's books, and Andy will tell you we have a library of books on AI.
I think just to add a little bit to this, the learning from experience, which is the core element of this book, lets you make sense of what machine learning and artificial intelligence is. But if you read the book and then go on and use some of the large language models that you can get on the internet for free, Gemini or ChatGPT or DeepSeek or whatever, then you can really accelerate your learning from experience. You can go and have a play and ask questions and get some sensible answers from it. So you can make a lot of progress really quickly by going down the AI machine learning route.
Yeah, you do have to be careful though. To take the output with a pinch of salt sometimes.
Yeah.
The ChatGPT always tells you that it may not be accurate, so please check. So yeah, check for multiple sources, because what we see is reinforcement happening.
Yeah.
On the internet. So Wiki used to get slagged off for poor quality of its data, of its content, which is vastly improved over the years. Hopefully ChatGPT and the likes will improve over the years, become more trustworthy. But whenever I engage with a generative AI system, I always check. And as we'll see the last couple of slides, I can point out a couple of errors. Prompt engineering is probably something I should mention here. If you get your prompts right, you're more than likely to get what you're looking for in terms of the outcomes or the output.
Yeah. Prompt engineering is more like an art than a science.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just to bring you up to date as well. Conscious we have to get through some of this quite quickly. So I'm just going to touch on the high level topics and Andy will jump in. So we talk about machine learning as part of AI, but there is also ethics, governance, risk management. There's legislation around AI now that we need to be aware of. And if we're unaware of it and we fall foul of some of the legislation, a little bit like EU GDPR, there are hefty fines that can be levied against your organisation. So beware. And we do offer some advice in the book in terms of how to set these structures up. So in terms of ethical concerns, some of the basic stuff is things like potential for bias, unfairness, discrimination. We've always had this, but AI has accentuated it. Data privacy, data protection, again, GDPR, data protection's been there. But again, AI has brought this to the fore again. Obviously, the impact on employment, the economy. If you want to go to the real extreme, things like autonomous vehicles, autonomous weapons, which are there, they are being developed. You know, on the weapon side, battlefield technologies. Okay, develop them for defense purposes, but also don't take out the human. So leave the human in the loop. So what we don't want is artificial general intelligence. So we don't want autonomy. We don't want AI systems making their own decisions. Okay. So some ethical concerns, probably a little bit extreme there, but you should really have an ethics committee, or at least someone who's interested in ethics, a steering committee in each organisation. So we also need to address any ethical challenges which are raised in the AI projects. So what we want is AI projects which are going to deliver what we set out to deliver. Okay, so